still not. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Okay, and I am not singing because I see that it's live, and I'm not going to be stupid and do something dumb.
Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia.
Oh, I went and saw an ABBA cover band a couple weeks ago when we didn't have a show.
Oh, we know. We all know.
The
entire internet knows.
I will say, I have now seen 2 different ABBA cover bands.
I'm sorry.
And
intentionally even.
Intentionally, yeah. And well, you know how it is. I mean, well, my family, and that there was somebody that was really into ABBA, and
yes.
So that is really.
Yes, I do.
That is,
I will say that many a days I knew he was pulling in the parking lot when I could hear Dancing Queen blasting.
Right. And
oh my word.
So that's really what it is, So we go with we'll go sometimes with Carol's mom or Miss Brown Leader's mom, and this time it was our oldest that won tickets for the one at Interlaken. So
that's pretty awesome though.
Yeah, but now that I've seen 2 different ones, I can evaluate which one was better.
Yeah, absolutely. And because of that connection, that's the only reason I have never picked on you about it.
Right. Fair enough. And I mean, I would pick on myself for it. So, but I will say this band, which wasn't as good as the one I had seen at one of our competitors' concert venues, they did have the bassist from ABBA as part of their band.
Okay, that's kind of cool. So it's not really an ABBA tribute band. It's still, I guess you could call it ABBA.
Yeah, he was the bassist for several of their albums, and still playing the same bass guitar from back then. So there was
that's more you can say for some of the bands that are out today,
right? So there's some nostalgia to it.
Firehouse featuring the one sound cable from the guitar from the original band.
Right? I've seen Firehouse.
Oh yeah, we have. You and I've seen him. I've seen him. Well, I've seen him 3 or 4 times. You and I've seen him once. Or was that Great White?
No, that was Great White.
Great White. Yeah, Great White.
No, so Mrs. Brown Leader and our song is a Firehouse song. So we saw them at Streeters, if that brings back
that would have been a good venue to see them at.
Yeah, so it was anyway.
I never did get into their sappy love songs, but they had some great they had some other great songs.
Yeah.
That weren't sappy love songs.
Yeah. Anyway. Speaking of sappy, this cold ending.
Speaking of sappy, let's go.
All right.
Spectre 2 reporting in. This is Vanessa Marshall, and I play Hera Syndulla on Star Wars Rebels. You're listening to the Hyperspace Heroes podcast. That's no moon. Take it from Brown Mullet 34.
And now, on with the show.
Time for bladder check. Check.
Check.
Check. Wait. Screw it. I'm holding it.
It's raining men. Hallelujah, it's raining men.
Brown Squadron.
Podcasting, the final audio frontier. These are the legends of Brown Squadron.
Our computer is picking up a strange signal. Here, sir, you better take a look at it.
The ongoing mission? To explore the Star Wars universe and other nerd culture topics. To seek new content and new cantinas, bars, and lounges. To boldly annoy Scruffy by making too many bad jokes. Welcome to the Hyperspace Heroes podcast.
And welcome to Hyperspace Heroes. This is Brown Leader signing in. All wing report in.
Brown 2 signing in. And
Brown 4 listening from special assignment. Yes. Yeah. Let's see. What is he doing tonight? He is
he's piloting.
That's true. True. I was going to call him kindergarten cop, but
oh, okay. I like that much better.
yeah, right.
That's much better.
Yeah. So welcome back, Scruff. It's great to have you 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row. There's a light at the end of this tunnel. I think we've made it through the end.
Good deal.
This should be more frequently. This should be more frequent now.
Knock on wood.
So all my adoring fans. Oh, ouch! All my adoring fans. I am back. And speaking of my adoring fans, a shout out to the Texas crew. They have been listening and noticing that I haven't been on, and actually have been informing Mrs. Scruffy on why I haven't been here, because you guys are for the fans of why I'm not here.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like he knows more about what's going on than my wife does. So shout out to the Texas crew. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it.
You know, and I want to give a shout out to Mrs. Droidbait. I'm
super jealous.
We probably could have talked about this in Collection Corner, but it is her birthday weekend, and DB, because of work, for the birthday present, sent her on a trip, and she's in San Francisco right now. And yes, she sent us pictures from Lucasfilm, and yep, there we go.
There's Skywalker Ranch. I won't show the others without her. Okay.
Yeah. But definitely sent us some pictures that very jealous of. So Mrs. DB, hope you're having a great time out there.
Enjoy. You deserve it.
Have a great weekend, and what happens in San Francisco stays in San Francisco. So
except for COVID. I was reminded of that when I came back from Nashville one year.
Right. Well, since you're back, man, our news feed is loaded up. But before we jump into that, we've got a guest we're bringing on tonight.
Absolutely, bring him on.
So this gentleman, we know from way back in a profession long ago, and but no, we're Traverse City local, which is where we're located, as everybody knows, and somebody that we all worked together with for a while, and then, you know, as life happens, we take different paths, and it's been funny. We've been running into each other a lot lately, and little did we know, back when we worked together, we were not, our nerd flags were not flying, and we did not realize just how much of a nerd pool we all of us were back in the day. And so reconnecting, we found out that
we were younger. We were trying to be cool.
We're trying to be professional.
Professional,
I don't know.
Something like that.
We hadn't come out of the nerd closet yet, and it was before, what was it, the remake of 21 Jump Street, which made being a nerd cool again. So
yes, that's what it is.
That was kind of the right. Wasn't that kind of the shift in the zeitgeist? I think
definitely. Battlestar Galactica helped bring you and I out of the closet a little bit, but
to each other, right. We didn't realize that each of us were such sci-fi nerds until we started. Yeah, that's true. That was a good thing. Anyway,
Jump Street 21 was it?
I think for the population as a whole, I think that was kind of that thing. But no, we've been running into each other a lot lately in town. And kind of reconnecting, and he is the host of Questwise, which is a YouTube channel that is mostly about tabletop gaming, and a fellow of my heart, a big D&D fan. So let's bring him on now, Mr. Jodie Brandt. Jodie, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Excellent. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Right on. Yeah. So who knew after all these years, when we started running into each other again, and it was like, you're a nerd, I'm a nerd. Let's talk.
We're nerds.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Questwise.
So Questwise is a YouTube channel I started about 6 years ago or so. Right. It kind of happened by accident, to be honest. So I had run, previous to that, I had a nonprofit organization called Gaming for a Cure, and I did that for about 12 years, and I kind of stepped aside from that. And then when I did that, I realized I was really bored. I had nothing to do. There's no planning of events or anything. And I was working at a bookstore at the time, and this gentleman showed up, and he said, "Hey, we want to do this cool live D&D thing. like some of the other things that were going on at the time. And I said, yeah, cool. I'll support you however I can. He goes, no, you don't understand. We want you to run the game. And I was like, okay, cool. So we did a couple of test sessions, and then the guy who actually showed up sort of just disappeared, found out he took a job in like Pennsylvania and just left without any notice. So I had already set up the Questwise YouTube channel. I'd had a local gentleman actually create the logo for me. And so if you go back in the catalog and look at my first video, it's horrible. It's me sitting on my couch with my phone and being like, hey, I'm going to talk about games and stuff that I like, and I hope you care. So 6 years later, we just broke 5,000 subscribers.
Congratulations.
And thank you. Thanks. It was quite a milestone for me. It means nothing in the YouTube universe because doesn't mean I get an extra penny or anything else from them.
Right.
But for me, it was kind of a milestone. And it started off as talking about role-playing games and kind of evolved from there into other nerd things like card games and miniature games and whatever I felt like talking about. And so, yeah, if you go check it out, my newest weird obsession, I studied history in college. My newest, like, middle-age crisis, I guess, is historical games now. So I talk about a little bit of everything. Whatever appeals to me is what my channel is about, and people seem to like it, so I just keep doing it.
Right on.
So you're saying we hit middle age?
Yeah, it was funny because I was talking to my wife, and when I turned 50, and I was like, hey, I don't want a motorcycle. I don't really want a boat. I'm not really in the model trains. So like, what do I? what's my middle age crisis here? What do I get to do?
A Corvette convertible is just too uncomfortable and too small.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm a big guy, and it just doesn't. Yeah, I don't fit into those things. So,
so let's start a nerd collection.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Yeah, as a history you know what, Scruffy, we should see if he's available when we have Chris back on the show.
Oh, yes.
We have a fellow guest that is an author that we know that we've had on the show several times. He's written some Star Wars books, but he's actually a World War I historian by trade in England, specializing in like the French, German armies, I believe. And really cool guy. And shout out to Doc, and we'll have him on the show soon too, because I talked to his press agent and we knew him before he had a press agent, and we're gonna have him on the show. It'll probably be a special Sunday episode for all of you out there. Doc Kevshall, he just wrote a new book, Star Pilots, told from the view of Wedge Antilles, which I'm totally down for.
Can't wait to get that.
I pre-ordered it. Can't wait to get it. But anyway, sorry.
Can we get a press manager?
Well, we got to get to Jodie's reach of 5,000 people, even to like, we're not even there.
We got 50.
He's going to get one before we are.
Yeah.
Probably.
At some point this month, I'm going to get my like $100 check from YouTube too. So.
Whoa.
Don't spend it all in one place.
We're super jealous of that.
Yep. We bleed money by the right. True. But yeah, no, I wanted to like talk about I wanted to go back on something you said about, going back and watching your first episode. And for all of us podcasters and streamers, that's a badge of honor, right? I mean, because
absolutely.
How many episodes now have you put out? And I go back every once in a while and I listen to our first couple of episodes. We were audio only for the first 25 episodes, and by the way, I don't know if I said it. This is episode 182 and 207 on the Spotchka scale, and I don't know how you can do that. What's that?
Go back and listen to that.
Yeah, well, and it was funny because we hadn't found our voice yet, right, as a show. And the first episode is so cringe. And then on the second one, we tried to do like this deep dive on whether Yoda was a great leader or not. And it was, we were trying too hard in the beginning until we found our rhythm. And I think every creator goes through that. So I'll never take those episodes down because they remind me of where we came from.
Absolutely not. They're awesome.
Right.
And they're absolutely terribleness.
It is without a doubt. So yeah, so here's your channel. All right, 5.02 thousand subscribers. That's awesome. 439 videos. Wow.
I cannot wait to get a little free time. You did a video on the Star Wars customizable card game by Decipher.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't wait to check that out, dude. Somewhere
That
behind this wall here is about 10,000 of those cards. That's not a brag. That's not a brag by any means.
Right. No, it's one of those things that you're just like, yeah, I probably shouldn't tell anybody.
No, I should not.
No, that was one of my all-time. It still is to this day one of my all-time favorite card games. I think it really passed along to card games after that a lot of inspiration, and so I just find it really, really fascinating. The only problem I had with that is I felt like the further that game went on, the harder it was to sort of just play casually. It's almost like you had to sit down with a friend and really like specialize your decks in order to play. But no, it's a fantastic game, and I'm really sad to have seen it go. They did a weird spin-off. I think it was just called Wars. I want to say like late 90s, early 2000s, where they used the same exact game mechanics, but they just sort of added this really crappy art and just tried to make some weird space war theme out of it. But yeah, I bought a few of those packs, and then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna play all the thousands of cards that I have in my house too.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so that's a good segue, actually. And one of the questions we normally launch off with during the show is, what does Star Wars mean to you?
So I've been a Star Wars fan since as far back as I can remember. It's kind of so my mom, I lost my mom at a pretty young age. I was 8 years old when she passed away. But and I didn't realize it till much later that she was a huge sci-fi nerd. And you know, when I was like 8, that was like when HBO had just become a thing. And so we would always sit down and watch these really horrible sci-fi movies. And it's funny because I don't remember ever seeing A New Hope, but I distinctly have very fond memories of sitting in the theater and watching Empire with my mom. And I knew all the characters already. I already owned a bunch of the toys and stuff. So it became a lifelong sort of passion for me, especially when I was younger, because it was one of those things that like, that's all I thought about every day, all day long. And I tried to weave Star Wars into every aspect of my life at that point. After my mom had passed away, Star Wars was kind of a thing that I think I shared with her, and I kind of placed it on the back burner for a long time. And it wasn't until I went off to college in like mid 90s. Don't want to give away, too much of how crazy old I am, but mid 90s, I went off to college and I met a guy who became a very dear friend. And I remember walking into his dorm room and he had a Rancor figure sitting on his desk, and I was like, instantly, it sort of reawakened that sort of passion for me. And he really got me into reading sort of what is now considered the expanded universe novels. At the time, that was just the natural progression of things. But I remember starting to read a bunch of those things and realizing that there was a much larger world of Star Wars beyond just the 3 movies that we had. And so it's always been very ingrained into who I am and what I've become over the years. But so, yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I don't remember New Hope in the theater either. Empire was my first one that I remember seeing in the theater, so I'm right there with you.
And if you remember, like if you're familiar with Traverse City at all, which I know we all are, I remember watching it at the theater that was outside of the Meijer at that point. That's where I saw Empire at, was at that, which is no longer there now. It's like a parking lot, I believe.
That was where I saw Empire and Jedi. Nice. I saw A New Hope at the Sundowner over in Acme, the drive-in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, that was before any of my time. Mrs. Adelphi, welcome. And Adelphi too, welcome to the show. And I saw you, Roderick, and then Max Rebo was on for a moment, but I think he got is older than Hope. Yeah.
I like that.
I finally gave him that thing that I had been saving for him, and then he goes and treats me like that. So
well. But you should come to expect that.
Yeah, that's true. It is.
Mm-hmm.
That was before my time up here, but I know the location. I've heard stories about those theaters before I came up here for sure. So what was kind of your first Star Wars memory or experience you remember?
Oh, geez. I remember, so again, this is going to date me by quite a bit. I remember listening to the Star Wars radio drama in my bedroom and thinking to myself, that's not Luke Skywalker. Like, they had different actors, obviously, for the parts, and being really, like, pissed off about the fact that wasn't Mark Hamill's voice coming through the radio. That's probably one of my earliest memories of like, I knew at that point that I was a Star Wars fan because I would be mad that it wasn't Mark Hamill that was doing the radio drama. Later, I've come to appreciate that later. That sort of media of things. In fact, somewhere I have saved on a like USB drive, like the actual radio drama, and every couple of years I'll break it out and listen to it again. But yeah, I think that's probably my earliest memory of that was, other than seeing Empire in the theater. And I remember being yelled at by a lady that was sitting behind us because I kept like talking to my mom, being like, "Is that Luke Skywalker? Is that Luke Skywalker?" The lady behind us was like, "Could you just shut up for a little while?"
Rude.
That's hilarious. That's absolutely hilarious. Yeah. So did you ever, as a gamer, did you ever play the West Ends game for Star Wars?
Yeah, and in college, actually, I was a big fantasy nerd growing up, but then didn't realize that there was actually a Star Wars role-playing game until I went off to college. And a group of our friends got together. We played a lot of that for a couple of years. It was like that era just before Magic the Gathering sort of hit or was hitting.
Yeah.
So we eventually all sort of migrated into that. But yeah, we played a lot of the West End game stuff. I remember playing the was it called Star Warriors? I think. I'm trying to think if it was West End games. Like the miniature, like it wasn't miniatures. It was like a hex encounter type like board game. Was it called? I think it was Star Warriors. I think is what it was called. It's like Star Wars, Star Warriors, when you could like do like these bombing runs on like Star Destroyers and that kind of stuff. And
oh wow,
we played a bunch of that as well. It's kind of hard to find now. If you can find a good copy of it, runs pretty expensive. So I'm assuming it was kind of a limited run kind of thing, but did a bunch of that. And then of course, graduating into like the D20 system of D&D, or like the D&D version of Star Wars. The Wizards of the Coast, once they purchased that, which was okay. It just didn't really feel like, I feel like the West End games one was definitely the best. And I had met later some friends who had actually worked on that project as well, and some of the expansions, had written some of the like expansion booklets and stuff for it, which was really, really cool. Yeah. That's the one right there.
Okay, absolutely. I do vaguely remember this.
It was like a hex encounter kind of thing. You had a map you laid out, and then they had counters, like little cardboard counters for Star Destroyers and X-wings and A-wings and B-wings and stuff. It was definitely more on the sort of chess side of things for Star Wars, but
yeah, we were so far into D&D and Shadowrun and BattleTech that we never got to the the Star Wars games. THACO is the best, right on.
Absolutely, 100%. That was where I started.
Yep, THACO till I die. Right. Second edition. That was my that's what we played. and I stopped playing before 3rd edition and 4th and 5e, whatever that is. So, no, that's cool. That's very cool. Let's kind of move over to D&D. You said, your bread and butter was fantasy. Was it D&D or was it anything like else, like Pathfinder or stuff like that?
So yeah, interesting. I didn't really know about role-playing games till I was about 14 years old. I had already read a lot of like fantasy stuff. I was reading like Lord of the Rings and like Sword of Shannara, the Terry Brooks stuff. A lot of like older fantasy stuff, and I lived up here with my grandparents. Most of my family lived downstate in the like Grand Blanc, Flint area of southern Michigan, and I would go visit them in the summer times. And my cousin had a friend who said he wanted to introduce us to a game, and I figured it was some kind of a board game like Risk or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought over Palladium books. At the time, it was like Heroes Unlimited and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Palladium Books, if you don't know, is a role-playing game company that's based out of Detroit, Michigan. And he introduced me to that, and I was also a big comic book fan at the time. Still am. I've been a lifelong comic book fan as well, but it really sparked something in me into the fact that I could take all these stories that I had been reading about and actually play them out with friends and like actually create my own stories. And of course, when I came back home, we had a Walden Books in the Cherryland Mall. If anybody remembers the Cherryland Mall. They didn't carry Palladium Books because it was kind of still a small company at the time, but they did have a copy of the Player's Handbook of AD&D 2nd edition. And I remember mowing lawns to raise the money so I could go buy that Player's Handbook, and read that thing cover to cover. It was also a time period in the 90s or late 80s, early 90s when it wasn't cool to talk about being a nerd. It was sort of the end of that satanic panic phase that was going on. And so like you had to sort of figure out who you could talk to in school about it without getting beat up. And so you'd see somebody reading like a fantasy novel and you'd be like, hey, do you also know about like Dungeons and Dragons? And they're, they kind of give you that side eye, like, we shouldn't talk about this in public. But I really fell in love with D&D to a point where then I started to read, and we had talked about this before a little bit about reading Dragonlance and reading Forgotten Realms, R.A. Salvatore and the Weiss and Hickman stuff. And I just fell in love and read through all of that. And that progression of D&D and tabletop gaming definitely bled over into college. And when I got to college, there were tons of people I had met that were playing or had played before. And so it really became a kind of a weekly event for us. We'd play D&D and we'd switch different, who was hosting that night or whatever. And then we bled into some of the West End Games, Star Wars stuff, a little bit of Shadowrun. What else? We had Twilight 2000. We played a little bit of that. And then, of course, when Magic the Gathering sort of hit the scene, we started playing some of that. That bled into things like Warhammer and miniature gaming and Blood Bowl, which is still one of the coolest like miniature games ever, like fantasy football kind of thing. But yeah, D&D has always still been a very big part of my life. It really influenced the channel, obviously, with Questwise. And I, to this day, still like running events. I work pretty closely with Cherry Capital Comic-Con here in town every year during Memorial Day, to the point where they've now put me outside of the game room. So I have my own booth sort of outside when you first come into the venue, where I run games every year. Sometimes it's D&D. Sometimes it's some sort of fantasy-inspired miniature game. I try to tie it in with whatever the guest is there. So this past year, I actually did a miniature game using Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a thing, and set up a big like 3D cityscape and whatnot. But yeah, D&D will always be just kind of the core of what really drove me into further sort of the expanse of nerddom, as it were.
I was so deep into Margaret Weiss and Hickman's books, same growing up, and then I didn't realize. So I was in Europe. Where was I? I was in Europe last year traveling, and all of a sudden I was on a train riding. So I was flipping through the phone, and had not even clicked that they had put out a while back books that took place between the original 3 Chronicles and with side stories. And I downloaded them as fast as I could, and I started reading them, and boy, did it bring back the memories. And then I had the chance to talk to Margaret. We had her on the show. I did a phone interview with her last year before Gen Con, and wonderful woman, lovely lady. And I had a chance to ask her, because I was amazed that these books written years after Chronicles, they were written they were published, I should say, a couple decades later. And I'm like, I was amazed, and I told her, because I was like, Margaret, reading these books, it was like you have everything reads like it was written back in the same time, back in the day. I mean, you captured everything. And she was like, well, that's because we did. And it was all these stories that they had written in addition to the original Chronicles that they just didn't publish. And so they had kind of been sitting on the shelves for years, and then they resurrected them and put them out. And I was just floored by that, because it was all these, they had planned all this out back in the day. And to then get these years later and read them in the same narrative style, exact, because everybody changes over time, things change, narrative, even writers' narrative styles change a little bit as they progress as writers. And to read it in the exact same, it was amazing. But yeah, I was a D&D kid first and foremost as well, and didn't really play till my teenage years. What was your preferred class and race?
I love wizards, man. I've always been fascinated by magic, and magic systems and magic users and stuff. They're always the toughest to play, because you always started off with just like 4 hit points or whatever.
Yes.
Right. But it was always really fascinating to me to be able to go as part of a group and try to find magical items and spells and do research. And much later, as I got further and further into the game, I started to to the demise of the group, be like, hey, we're going on side quests because I need to find some mistletoe so I can prepare this spell or whatever. But interestingly enough, I had a great conversation with Larry Elmore a few years back at GaryCon, and he had some great stories to talk about. Like, in those early days, it wasn't like today where you write something, you draw something, you paint something, whatever, and you just email it to somebody. So they all had to move to Lake Geneva into this one thing, and they had different floors of this building, and so the writers would be on one floor and the artists on the other. And he talked about when we were having this conversation about how Tracy Hickman would come up and be like, "Hey, we're working on this book, and I need a picture of Lord Soth. I need some inspiration for this, and I want to do a painting for this particular part of the book or whatever, do a sketch drawing kind of thing." And so he would draw something, and he's like, no, you're completely missing the point. And it was it's cool sort of conception of artist and writer together, of them trying to share the ideas so that the artist can portray what he's writing, but the artist bringing out sort of that same concept to share those ideas. And it was a really cool concept that I maybe don't see much today, because it's you'll have a writer in, say, California, and the artist is in New York, and they're just sort of talking back and forth via emails or whatever. But that was cool. It was a cool conversation to have.
Yeah. There's something to be said about in-person collaboration, right? To kind of pick up on the energy and that kind of thing. And Elmore, still probably my favorite D&D artist, right? For sure.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, he captured everything, and those are the images that live rent free in the brain for sure. What drew you to tabletop and RPGs over, because we all grew up in the early years of the video games, and as that started to develop, what pulled you to that more than any other kind of form?
I guess deep down inside, I'd always been a writer. I'd always been sort of a storyteller, and so being able to collaborate with other friends to tell these stories was really, really inspirational for me, because not only was I sort of like taking cool ideas I had stolen from other media, but I was able to sort of bring in their ideas as well too. So it inspired me to write more like campaign settings and adventures. I've always really loved that sort of collaboration with other people. It's always been really, really fun for me to sit down in a brainstorming session, and even just like free fly an adventure, just off the cusp kind of thing. Just break out the books, or even just a handful of dice and just start telling a story has always been really, really exciting for me. I guess as a fan of things like Star Wars or any kind of sci-fi or fantasy, it's always been a great time for me to be able to be like, hey, I'm in the company of fellow nerds, and we're all sort of creating this mythos together. So yeah, I think that's what was always really inspirational to me was be able to share those stories, those ideas with other people, and then feed off of their ideas and their excitement as well too.
Or Shadowrun. I was just going to bring that up, Adelphi. You beat me to it. Yep. We were
buckets full of dice.
Yes, all 36 D6s. Oh, that was such a chore. Yeah, we had Brian Young on last week, and he writes for Shadowrun right now. He mostly BattleTech, but he writes for Shadowrun, and we were talking about that on the show last week. It's just playing Shadowrun, and love the game, love the concept, but the dice mechanics was a chore. Fights took forever, and then forget about decking. I mean, if you were going to deck, oh my god, that was a whole 5-hour campaign while everybody else in the group was just sitting there waiting.
We're gonna go make a pizza run, and you just take care of this. You're good.
Yep. Yeah. Right on. So yeah, what are you still are you doing RPGs now? Or are you still kind of playing some things, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm actually kind of brewing this idea. Somebody I had met through some other avenues had mentioned to me that there were some local places here, some breweries and stuff that were looking to hold like game days and whatnot.
Oh, cool.
And so kind of fell into that a little bit. It's kind of gone by the wayside. I don't know if they changed their mind or if just craziness of the summertime kind of got in the way. But I do a lot of role playing. I started doing some videos on solo role playing, especially during COVID, when people couldn't get together. I really started to look at how can you have the experience of a role playing game, whatever it may be, and do it just by yourself and still have that same fun experience. And found out that there were a lot of other people out there in the world that were doing the same ideas. And so collaborating with them and like ideas that they had come up with and charts and what they call oracles that kind of work as a game master for you and give you ideas. So started doing some videos on like how you can approach a role-playing game, even though you might not have a group to play with, kind of stuff. But I do a lot of stuff with Cherry Capital Comic-Con and stuff as well too. We did some panels a couple of years ago on like just world building and just how to we interviewed the audience that was there with us, and we built an entire like science fiction world just while we were sitting there for like an hour in a panel room. So yeah, I'm still pretty involved in it. Not as much as I was in the past, but it's still something that's pretty important to me.
Right on. So now into your solo role playing, expand upon that a little bit, because that, I was telling you before we went on air, every once in a while I get this little itch and I need to kind of like scratch it. I don't have time in my life right now for a group and to get thing. And I can't commit to just committing to this once a week is a chore for me. And so to commit to a gaming group is really hard. Tell me a little bit more about the solo role playing. Where can I find,
Sure. Yeah, so if you go on to, you can just Google it, but there's a website called Drive-Thru RPG. If you go onto that website and just type in solo role playing, there's a bevy of stuff out there. But really what it boils down to is sort of just breaking out, we'll use like AD&D second edition, for example. Just create a character, and then you'll use a simple, what they call an oracle. Basically answers questions for you. So you have your character, and you sort of come up with this concept of like, hey, I need to go find this magical sword in order to sort of help save this town from a plague or something. And you'll use this oracle. You'll ask it questions, simple things like, do I encounter any troubles as I'm traveling from this town to this cave entrance? And you roll some dice, and it will tell you yes or no answers, kind of thing. If it says yes, then you say, okay, is it goblins? Is it, you kind of sort of create the questions as you go. And by rolling dice, it sort of gives you the answers that you'll get, and it sort of builds the story in that aspect of things. There are a lot of companies out there that are now integrating it. I believe, if I remember right, there's a new game penned by a woman, and I so sorry that I can't remember her name right now. I believe the game is called Shadow Dark. That actually has, when you buy the game, there's an option to get the solo rules with it. And it's basically just a bunch of like random tables. So you come across the cave and you roll on a random table to see what's in the cave. Is it lit? Is it full of smoke? Is it full of like zombies? That kind of stuff. And it sort of builds the story for you. There's actually a really great Star Trek game out there called I'm going to butcher the name. It's not Captain's Chair. That's a board game. Captain's Log, I believe is what it's called, which is a completely solo Star Trek campaign system. It's really, really cool. You're the captain of a starship, and you're on your mission to go out and explore brave new worlds. And it has all these charts and tables within the book that sort of build that story for you. Do you encounter Romulans? Do you encounter Klingons? What is your relationship with them when you come across them? Is it tense? Is it friendly? That kind of stuff. And it just sort of, by rolling dice on these different tables, sort of builds this story and this whole sort of adventure path around what you're doing. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty neat way, especially if you don't have a group, or even in between groups. I've used it when I even had a group and would solo role play some of my own ideas just to build ideas for the next adventure group that, next time we get together. So yeah, Captain's Log. There you go.
Scruffy, guess what you're getting for Christmas?
I can't even begin to imagine.
It's super cool.
Kelsey Dion.
Kelsey Dion, that's her name. Yes,
Shadow Dark.
Yep, absolutely.
That's cool.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
What?
Delphi.
Yeah.
It's okay to be both. It definitely is.
They give me a lot of slack for. I've never been a fan of Star Trek, the TV series, but I always loved the movies. One of the most exciting things coming up here in the month of September. Speaking of new, I'll get to a quick news segment since we're already on the topic of Trek. The motion pictures back in the theaters. Star Trek: The Motion Pictures back in the theaters from the 4th to the 8th for the 60th anniversary.
Really?
And it cracks me up of all of that content, all of that incredible world that they could have used for their 60th anniversary, and they chose Star Trek: The Motion Picture to reintroduce into the movie theater.
Right on.
I mean, come on. I know it's not in order, but Wrath of Khan? Hello? Like, wow.
I guess the thing too for me, for as far as Star Trek goes, like I've always been more of a Star Wars fan, but Star Trek, there's something about the exploration aspect of that sort of not knowing of sort of like traveling into the unknown and discovering new things. That's always been really fascinating to me that you just don't really get a lot of in Star Wars.
No,
at least not in the older stuff anyway. But
right.
You can play while you watch your copy of Turkish Star Trek.
There you go. Right on. Have you tried any of the online like solo RPG AI engines?
Yeah, it's a little creepy, to be honest with you. I've used Chat GPT. I heard somebody say that you could play Dungeons and Dragons with that, and you can absolutely play a game of Dungeons and Dragons with Chat GPT. And at first it was a little unnerving. It was a little strange, especially with some of those AI engines that sort of get to know you the longer you interact with it. I remember like doing a session and then going off and doing something else, and a couple days coming back, and it remembered everything about my character and about me and about. It was a little strange, but it's available. It's completely doable, absolutely. It because it draws from sort of the wealth of the internet. It knows the rules. So I would say I rolled a 20-sided die and I got a 17, and it would know exactly what sort of bonuses to add to that roll and whether or not I was successful at the roll and whatnot. So it's kind of interesting to see those aspects being used in that capacity of being able to run a role-playing game like that. It definitely it's a cool experience, but it's a little unnerving at first, especially when you're used to being with a group of people and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure. I have dabbled with them a little myself, and I found that depending on the engine, sometimes it was very easy for me to manipulate,
Sure.
And then sometimes the longer the story went on, it seemed to forget details. And so then all of a sudden my character had this instead of that. And I kept having to remind the engine, no, this is my character. This is what they have. And which would get a little frustrating. Right. And, but yeah, no, it's today's busy world. Solo RPG is that's why I asked so much about it. Cause I just don't have the time. I might have 20 minutes here, might have, 30 minutes there, that kind of thing. And then back to life. So, no. All right. Thanks for, what was that site again? Drive Through RPG.
Drive Through RPG. Yeah.
Right on. Well, cool. We talked about kind of what you've been up to lately. What's that? Would Scruffy tell the AI that he was recognized by Katie Sackhoff at ICCC? Yes, he would.
Yes, I would.
Yes, he would. Yep.
Absolutely.
You know what? I'm going to have to... one of the engines that I've used, you can do not only medieval fantasy, but you can do post-apocalypse. So I should do one of those adventures, playing a character named Scruffy that goes around telling people that Katie Sackhoff remembered him, and see where...
No, that's not necessary.
See how fast he gets killed.
Probably pretty quick.
Probably.
I'm gonna guess within the first 3 or 4 people. Yeah, the encounters.
Probably. It'd be Katie Sackhoff herself.
Rude.
That's cool. And I just had another question that just popped off. All I'm thinking about is post-apocalyptic Katie Sackhoff. So no, you've been involved in C4 quite a bit, like you were saying. And do you go to other cons, or is C4 your main one?
I mean, C4 is definitely, being the hometown one, it's so much easier to, just to go to it every year. But yeah, we've been to a few others. My wife and I traveled with some of the guys from C4 to Astronomicon in Ann Arbor. It's an interesting con. It's really hard to describe to someone unless you've actually gone. They're like, it's sort of like, there are comics and stuff there are games and stuff there, but it's more of like a horror / professional wrestling kind of thing. It's really interesting convention. We saw Sting, which my wife is a huge fan. We love professional wrestling here at the house. So she got to meet Sting, which was a lifelong thing for her. But then like Bruce Campbell was there as well. And then like the cast from Scream, Angry Grandma was there for some reason. I'm not really sure how she fit into that. But they, they had the Ghostbusters group there. They had the 501st Star Wars cosplayers. There was a Star Trek group there as well too. it's just a really strange convention. Like it hasn't made up its mind on what it wants to be. But it was really cool. We had a great time. One of our things I would definitely love to go. I would love to go check out San Diego Comic-Con. I think it would be an amazing experience. We made friends a few years back with Angel Medina, who's an artist who did Spider-Man for a long time. He also did Spawn, and he's been there several times, and he said it's just like 4 days of chaos. Like he's like, you stand at one end of the row and you can't see the other end. It's just that huge, it's a gigantic convention. But I think it would be something that would be cool. It would be like, being able to go to like this major, like Gen Con. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Gen Con, but like just this massive, like it just sprawls across the entire city. But it would be really cool to kind of see that kind of stuff. I've been to Gen Con a couple times. My wife actually took me as a surprise for our first wedding anniversary because I hadn't been for years. And so she took me to Gen Con, and she found out she really loves dice. So she actually got us in at a reduced rate. So I was running games of Settlers of Catan. Cool. While I was doing like demos of games, she was off like buying dice and other board games and stuff. So yeah, we've been to Gen Con. I've been to Gary Con in Lake Geneva, which is cool, especially if you're a D&D fan, because it's like sort of the home of D&D. Yeah. And they do that every year. So one of the creators, Gary Gygax, his son, puts that on every year. It's also a little weird because it's at an old Playboy mansion. Is where they hold it. It's now called the Lake Geneva Convention Center, but the minute you walk in, you're like, yeah, this is a little strange.
No black lights allowed. Yeah.
It was an experience, but you run into like all sorts of famous people. I saw Tom Morello there. A lot of these famous people who are really now coming out and being like, hey, we've been playing D&D for like years, and it's cool to be a nerd now. And so that was kind of cool. But yeah, we go to a few other ones, but C4 is definitely the easiest. It just feels like home because it is home. And you get to know some really, really cool people. So
right on. Yeah, I saw this year I haven't been to Gen Con, and I've been thinking about it. And then this year I saw they had like a bank of 10 BattleTech pods at Gen Con, and I was like, oh, that's one of those things I didn't get to do as a teenager. I never made it to Chicago to do it when I lived in the Detroit area, and I regret it to this day. And I'm like, man, that'd be fun. Just once, because I was into BattleTech, not as much as D&D, but close. And so that I read so many of the books, so many of the stories, and so I absolutely love that universe. And we know some people that are game creators that go to Gen Con as well every year, so it'd be nice to meet.
It's an amazing experience. Absolutely, I recommend it to anybody if you get a chance to go. They sort of post it as being the greatest 4 days in gaming, and it really lives up to that name. It's phenomenal. You could walk for hours around that town and not see everything. There's just games going on everywhere, and it's massive vendor hall of things that you go there to find these cool new things that are coming out that are only available at Gen Con, and then you stumble upon like 20 other things you never even knew about. So yeah, it's really, really cool. Great experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a good time. Got to do it. And yeah, Comic-Con or San Diego Comic-Con too. That's got to be it's kind of a bucket list item. You had me at Playboy Mansion, right?
Yeah, there are so many jokes there that I'm just going to let that one go. But
yeah.
So I got a story about this. So I drove out there by myself, right? And when you get out there to Wisconsin, there's nothing. It's absolutely just there's no landmarks or anything. So I'm driving and I got the GPS going, and it's like, you're going to stay on this road for 72 miles. And then I get 72 miles into my journey, and it's like your destination's on the right, and there's nothing there. There's literally literally a line of pine trees. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I need to do a U-turn. So I do a U-turn. It's like your destination's on the left. And I'm like, wait a minute, what is going on? So I realized that there's this little driveway, which I thought was somebody's house. And I drove back down this driveway for probably a good quarter of a mile, half a mile, before there's this giant arch that says, welcome to the Grand Geneva Convention Center. And then I get further back in there, maybe another mile, and all of a sudden there are thousands of people everywhere. And I was just like, what is going on? But Lake Geneva itself is so small. It's literally like a Piggly Wiggly grocery store and like a gas station. And that's it. Like, there's nothing else there. But way off into the woods is this ex-Playboy mansion that they've turned into this massive convention center. It's so if you go, it's a little strange. It's a little different, but it was definitely worth the trip.
Now that sounds like a road trip we can get in trouble on, Scruff.
Yeah, that may have to make the list.
We may have
Gen Con and the former Playboy Mansion.
Gary Con, yeah.
Gary
Con. Yeah, right. There's a lot of things you can do by yourself with a Playboy. Read the articles. All right, Adelphi. Mrs. Adelphi was watching too. Mind your manners. Of course, the next thing he'll say is, well, she's the one that holds the magazine up for me.
Oh, my word. Okay.
He probably will, right? It's Adelphi. Right on. Well, very cool. Hey, let's transition, Scruff. I know you downloaded a lot of news items, and let's get through those really quick, and then we'll kind of move on to Collection Corner.
All right, so it's been a rough couple weeks here. Let me cue everything up here. So that was my dinner last week.
Why did you put a picture?
Because that it is a joke by itself right there. I mean, think about that. All three food groups are there. Beer.
I could see having a can of this at GaryCon.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. See, it's relevant. Thank you. Oh wait, we got a comment here real quick.
You got me in trouble.
No, you got yourself in trouble.
You did. It's your comments.
Yeah, exactly. They're your comments. So, all right. So it's been a rough couple weeks for those of us who are fans of music and movies and stuff. We lost Frank Beard last week. Mm-hmm. Coincidentally, the only person in the band without a beard. His last name is Beard. Mm-hmm. So glad that we all got to see him, the band as a whole, back in 2019 before Dusty Hill passed away.
Yep, Brownie won, Scruffy and I got to see them just a few miles down the road, right in our own backyard at Interlochen Arts Academy, and that was a great show.
Yeah, it was an awesome show. I'm so glad I got to see them before.
Well, it was still the original band, yeah.
Yep. And then we lost Tim Curry yesterday. Very sad there. Mm-hmm. Voice of Emperor Palpatine in Clone Wars.
Yep.
We lost Dolly Parton. Not a huge country fan, but I got to give her credit. She was an icon for sure in everything.
She did a lot for education in her home state of Tennessee.
Absolutely.
So,
and you got to give her props for everything that she did. And then this is a picture that I had to put up here because this is when DB got to do a duet with Dolly Parton. Yep. So that's DB and Dolly Parton up on stage. So that is an epic moment. So we were at ICCC a couple years ago, and we were doing the trivia night. And suddenly DB's getting up there and he's answering questions and sitting down. And then he gets up, answer questions, sits down. And suddenly he just didn't get up the next round. And suddenly the guy who's emceeing said, well, wait a minute. Hey, where'd Judas Priest go?
Because he looks kind of like Rob Halford. There's been a running gag on the show for years now.
We loved it. R.I.P. Dolly Parton.
Okay,
that's that one. Her kindness and generosity, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're getting to Peter Cullen here in a minute.
DB. DB's watching the
I
show.
was not supposed to show that pic, so oops.
Oops. All right.
Looks like I'm going to pay for that later. Oh yeah, so here's who we lost in 2026 so far. It's been a rough year so far. And today, unfortunately, Peter Cullen passed away. Voice of Optimus Prime.
Mm-hmm.
So very, very sad week. So DB and I were talking earlier. He thinks we need to wrap George Lucas in bubble wrap.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should probably wrap Mel Brooks in bubble wrap as well, because I hate to lose either one of them right now, especially with Spaceballs 2.
Yep.
Coming out here in the next, I think it's less than a year now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's coming out in 27. Yeah,
and
spring. Speaking of Lucas, that's another thing that we may have to see about trying to add to the list is the new museum.
Yes, that is for sure going on the list. What's that? Philadelphia through September, I believe it is.
No, not that. That exhibit, yes, but I'm talking about the new Lucasfilm Museum.
Oh, the one in California, yes.
Yeah.
That's going to have to be
like a spaceship.
That's going to have to be a definite mandatory there.
I am a little disappointed they didn't make it look a little bit more like a calamari cruiser, but teach their own. It looks a little bit more like the Orville. Funny enough.
Yeah, I caught that. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I love the Orville, don't get me wrong, but I'm not sure how I feel about that one.
Orville's the best Trek in years.
Absolutely. That's the best Star Trek ever.
Right?
Well, second best. Lower Decks is hysterical.
I still have not watched that.
I highly recommend it. Jodie, have you seen that yet?
No, I haven't seen that one either.
Oh, Lower Decks is hysterical. It's basically an animated cartoon series about what happens behind the scenes. You hear about what's going on the bridge, but you don't hear about what's happening on the lower decks, where the real work happens. It's absolutely hysterical. Absolutely love it. So what else do I got? Back in theaters. So speaking of Transformers and Peter Cullen's passing, the movie is back in the theaters on September 17th. There is a limited edition popcorn bucket, of course, and a cup and a blanket. So hang on, it's going to be a rough fall. You're going to have to get one. Absolutely. Back in theaters also is Halloween 1, 2, and 3, September 4th, 5th, and 6th. And of course, Star Trek the Motion Picture, as I mentioned earlier, back in the theater on 4th through the 8th for the 60th anniversary. I'm super excited about that, actually. As far as terrible as it is, I actually love the motion picture.
Thus proving Hollywood has no new ideas if they're just rehashing old movies.
Well, but do they not? Are they lacking fresh ideas, or are they capitalizing on the nostalgic of big nerds like me and you?
Well, I mean, somewhat, but I don't know. I mean, that's a whole nother show, right? Movie industry.
Yeah, we'll save that. We'll save that one for a whole nother show. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. What else you got?
And just to be depressing, Def Leppard Hysteria is 40 years old. MTV is 45-year-old. Thank you, MTV, for 7 years worth of music videos.
Right.
And Friday Night Videos. You guys remember this?
No, I don't. Oh, maybe a little.
Yep. Friday Night Video. I love Friday Night Videos. That is 43 years old this year.
Jesus.
So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you realize that we are getting old.
Damn.
You're welcome.
What? Oh, that's just revenge for all the memes I do send to you guys all the time.
Yep. That's exactly what it is too. You're welcome.
Right.
And like I said, shout out to my fans and family in Texas. I will be in Texas next month. No, I'm sorry, October. In October. And I think 11 miles, according to the maps, I think it was 11 miles away from the final resting place of the great Peter Mayhew. So I'm going to go pay my respects while I'm there.
Right on. So we'll kind of real quick before we slip over into collection quarter, and of course everything always steers back to Star Wars. Jodie, have you been keeping up on any of like the streaming series or the movies or anything like that?
For Star Wars?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I just went back and rewatched all of the sort of pertinent episodes for Darth Maul before the new Maul Shadow Lord stuff came out. Super excited about the new Ahsoka. I just watched that trailer the other day about 45 times in a row.
Yep.
Yes, so did I.
My wife and I always, she's a Star Wars fan by proxy, but we always go to see whenever there's a movie that comes out. We always go together to the theaters to see those. So we went back and we went and watched Mandalorian and Grogu. But yeah, I try to keep up on all that stuff. Absolutely. I also watch all the Marvel spin-off things too. I'm kind of excited about the new Vision Quest. Is that what it's called? Vision.
Yeah.
Like the follow-up to Wanda and WandaVision. I love all that stuff too. But yeah, I try to keep up on much of that sort of.
Well, I'll have to. Yeah, when the next Star Wars, anytime a Star Wars comes out, we always try to get as big a group together as possible. So I'll have to let you know when we're going.
Yeah,
and see if we always try to. We always try to hit the Thursday night preview, and to get in early. And and at our age, the best thing they ever did was move the midnight release to 7 p.m.
Absolutely. Let me get in there, get my popcorn bucket, be home by 10, in bed by 11.
That's right. Right on.
Adelphi, we didn't have cable growing up, so Friday night videos, the only way we could see music videos. Absolutely.
Right on.
So good days back then.
Yeah, it's Maul Shadow Lord was awesome. Absolutely love that series.
The animation in that was epic. I can't get enough of it. I watched it numerous times. Rewatched it numerous times.
Yeah, and definitely looking forward to Ahsoka season 2 to see.
Yes.
To see where they go. The trailers are definitely indicating what Filoni has promised, which is lots of fighting, lots of space battles, lots of action. So we'll kind of see where they go. Now that they've shown the trailer, I'm good. Let's hold off because that actually, when is that coming out? That's January
27. They said so.
I think it was January.
Yeah, it might be. I can't remember off the top of my head.
But and you know what? We're only next week. Star Wars Lego. Mandalorian comes out, so can't go wrong with Star Wars Lego, that's for sure. Those are some of my favorite things. So but cool. All right, let's flip over into collection corner really quick and we will get through that. Let me find the music.
I want it all. Keep no time to approximate. I want it all.
Right on. All right, Scruff. It's been a while. You have a backlog.
Well, the problem is I don't remember what I've shown everybody, what I haven't shown everybody. So
you haven't been on the show. You haven't been on the show in a while. You haven't shown much at all.
Did I show anything from ICCC? I don't remember, and it's all scattered around me right now. But I do have one very important piece. It had to be done.
Right on.
So here it is. Oh yeah, there we go. So the figures included are the.
You open the box?
Oh yes, I opened the box. Specifically because I needed the R4 M9, the CZ3, and the 2 Wedge Antilles figures. So I actually opened the box. We're going to be very gentle.
Should have bought 2.
They would DB and I went in on it, and they would only allow him to buy 2 at the price.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so he's got one, I got the other. So there they are. I am super excited about this figure right here. So Wedge Antilles, the pilot figure. Nice. I've got to be able to get another one of these sets so that I can create a little X-wing scene. I have like 3 or 4 X-wings right now. This figure, I always baffled me why they never made this figure back in the day, along with a Tarkin. And the Captain Antilles figure.
Would Tarkin be in slippers?
Well, yeah. Absolutely. So super excited about that set.
Right on.
And that's what we added this week, other than some comic books that are currently scattered upstairs. So I'm not able to grab those right now.
Cool. All right, Jody, did you have anything you want? Oh, go ahead.
And I had to have it. I actually picked up 2.
Yes, you did.
I had to have it
Right.
because it's Rex.
Right.
Had to be done.
Right on. All right, we'll move over to Jody.
Oh, Adelphi caught it. I need that wedge.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of sprung that on me last minute, but I do have.
Sorry.
No, it's cool. It's fine. I'll know better for next time.
Yeah.
But I guess one of the things too, right up above my head over here.
Very cool.
See it. So when my wife and I bought this house, this was kind of our forever home. We've been looking for it for a long time. I bought her a giant clock for the dining room because she always wanted one of those for the house. In return, she bought me this sort of big plaque. It's about like 4 feet long or something like that. But cool. I guess also in honor of Peter Cullen, because it was sitting right next to me. I don't know if you guys ever have you seen the Blockies stuff? So these are like you put them together, you actually build them. It's almost like a Gundam model kit.
Okay.
But the company's called Blockies, and they do a lot of Transformers. They also do some Star Wars stuff, which I haven't had a chance to grab.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
But in honor of Peter Cullen, this is the ultra rare Optimus Prime figure, the purple version or whatever. But yeah, these are really cool. I got really addicted to them at C4 a couple of years ago. There was a vendor, Koi Comics. I think they're out of, I want to say Lansing, maybe.
Okay.
And they have a huge booth there, and they always have a huge stand of these Blockies. And every year I buy like 5 or 6 of them. I tell my wife 2 or 3, but it always ends up becoming like 5 or 6.
Absolutely.
Right.
And then you sneak back off to the hotel room, and then I'm plugging these all together late at night kind of thing. But yeah, these are really, really cool. I'd love to try out some of the Star Wars ones. I have some like Stormtrooper figures. I believe there's like Luke and Han and like the Stormtrooper outfits and stuff too. But yeah, these are cool.
Right on. For this, Delphi Juniors have 1 million of those Blockies. Right on. So I found these on my desk when I came back from the weekend on Monday. Another from Scruffy. Thank you.
Because you need another R4.
Well, and I made mention at one point that the Saga collection is my favorite version of R5. That is my I'm a big R5 guy. I'm a ride or die with R5. And so I was super excited when they brought him back in Mando. And to the point where, and I love showing this off, I picked this up at ICCC this year, and kind of a nice big boy. And then Scruffy actually got me the Gentle Giant version as well. And but yeah, I've got R5s all over. I've got drawers full of R5s now. But then,
as you should,
as I should. And then the other one that Scruffy bought ended up on my desk as well. Thank you, sir. I am a Rex fan. I still have to, you got to remind me, Scruff, I got to send this off. I'm sending this over to Joe at Rule the Galaxy.
Yes.
A Lego version of Rex. And I mentioned that because it's a good segue, because the other part I wanted to mention in Collection Corner is I want to give a shout out to Rule the Galaxy. Check out, you know what? I don't even know if they've posted the episode yet or not. Today is Thursday. On Tuesday,
R5's in your drawers?
Oh, yeah. D4 stands for something. So let me see if I can find if they've posted it. Yes. Okay.
Leaving that alone.
Today, shout out to Rule the Galaxy. 2 days ago, they recorded an episode with Anthony Daniels himself. And so it looks like they oh no, that's not the episode that they posted. It was a Fantha Treks. But they have it coming out soon. I know Joe's editing it, so stay tuned to Rule the Galaxy. They kudos to them, man, for landing that. I mean, that is a phenomenal get for sure.
Absolutely. That's pretty epic.
Couldn't be more excited for those guys. They're actually fast approaching episode 400. for them. So it's so excited for those guys, and those guys are based in the Indianapolis area. And actually, there's a picture of them recording right there. So
that's so cool.
Kudos to those guys. I'm sure it looks like Alfie wasn't on that call, so I'm sure he is regretting that.
That'd be a tough one to miss.
Right, but he probably also had to work, I imagine. So
well, it might be at that point in time where you just say, you know what, I'm sick, I'm not coming to work today, and in spite of the fact that everybody saw you live on
right,
it might be worth it.
Isn't that one of the ones to take the hit for?
That's what I'm thinking.
Totally worth a write-up. Absolutely.
So, and then I also want to give out shout to Blitz Transmission. So they've been doing some streams lately, doing fundraising for some children's charities. So definitely go over there. They're trying to raise, I think, $500. Go ahead and give them a follow as well, and donate. It's all for a good cause. So shout out to those boys right now too. Yeah, I think that wraps it up for collection.
I want it all. Hey, yeah. I want it all. I want it all. Hey, yeah. I want it all. And I want it mint now.
That's me singing, by the way.
Yeah.
And here comes Brown Leader singing here.
No, not quite yet. So Jode, thanks for joining us, man. And it's been great reconnecting. And
yeah, thanks for having me. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And where can people find your content?
So you can find me on Facebook under Questwise. You can find me on Instagram. Of course, the YouTube channel. It's Questwise 4 game, the number 4 game over on YouTube. Yeah, I'd appreciate a follow and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up once in a while. Yeah, that's about it.
Cool beans. All right. Let's Scruff. You got the picture ready?
I'm ready. Here's
right.
And here's Brown Leader singing.
There you go.
Dad joke of the week. Time to annoy Scruffy and DB. Dad joke of the week.
All right, Star Wars Dad Joke of the Week, courtesy of Kelly Knox's Star Wars Dad Jokes. Trying to get through Volume 1 so Scruffy can take over on Volume 2. Here we go.
Absolutely.
He's read a few. A few out of there. All right. Why doesn't the Mos Eisley Cantina serve droids?
I don't know. Why doesn't the Mos Eisley Cantina serve droids?
They're always short on cachet.
No.
That was Dad Joke of the Week. Now don't you feel absolutely complete?
All right, that was Star Wars Dad Joke of the Week. So that was even an IT dad joke. I think that even exceeds like dad joke status.
Yeah.
I'm sure all of our IT listeners are probably rolling on the floor right now.
Okay, that's funny. That was funny.
Right on. Yeah, Joe, man, it's been great having you on again, sir. It's great to talk to you. One of the things that we do on the show is that all guests become honorary members of Brown Squadron, and with that, you get a flight designation and a call sign. Call signs tend to always typically relate back to Star Wars. I had to do some digging. I like to dig into Wikipedia on this, and when you type in Game Master to Wikipedia, you get Creel, and we've actually already awarded that one to somebody. But we found somebody associated with the Game Master in Star Wars comics. And so where is it? So you will be Brown 98 and Congo, which is short for Congo the Disemboweler in Star Wars. And he was an arena champion that fought on the Narshada arenas that Creel was the game master for. So so Brown 98 Congo, and
Cool.
And anytime you want to nerd out, Jodie, you're welcome on the show. You're welcome to join us.
I'm on, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, we'll have to hook up for movies and stuff. And you know,
Absolutely.
I think, in fact, you know, the re-release of New Hope is coming out, and so we'll definitely have to.
I already got vacation time planned for that. I'll give you a shout as soon as I figure out what day I'm going to see Star Trek: The Motion Picture. I got to do it. It's got to be done.
Absolutely. So yeah. Welcome.
Adelphi, you were supposed to pronounce it cash because they have no money. Nice try.
Potato. Whatever. Tomato. You know, I kind of said it that way on purpose, but anyway, welcome to the crew, Jodie.
Thank you.
And congrats on 5,000 subscribers again.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's quite the achievement that maybe we'll get to one day in a decade or so.
Or so,
give or
take.
Yeah. So, but yeah, thanks everybody for watching tonight. And for those that'll listen to the rebroadcast, we appreciate it. We are Brown Squadron. You can find us on all the social X, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, which I've actually started to become more active on again because of Brian Young's comment last week that a lot of the authors have moved over to Blue Sky. So we do like interviewing the author community, and any chance to even get a glance from Michael Stackpole, we would love to be able to talk to him at some point. And but yeah, would Scruffy tell the AI that
I just wanted to throw it out there one more time before we get done.
Okay, thanks a lot. So yeah, give us a follow. We broadcast Thursday nights 8 p.m. on YouTube, X, and Facebook, so you can find us all there. You can email us at brownsquadron@gmail.com, and you can find all of our links at beacons.ai/Brown Squadron. So we appreciate the follow. Follow us. Follow Jodie at Questwise. Follow Rule the Galaxy for those guys. Catch that Anthony Daniels episode. Next week, we are going to talk to Torch 180, who is a restaurant and a charity group down in Fowlerville, Michigan. And they run a, right on Adelphi. They run a restaurant in Fowlerville called Torch 180, and the purpose of the restaurant is to employ disabled young adults. So very worthy cause. They have a glow-in-the-dark 5K Star Wars themed 5K coming up on September 19th, and so we are going to have them on the show next week to talk about their event and learn a little bit more about what's going on.
I just suddenly, it said 5K Star Wars run at night, and suddenly I pictured, well, not about picture, but the first thing that popped in my head was the underoos for your Star Wars costume.
Right.
And that just, you know how I am.
A cape with it, a lightsaber, and some Yoda slippers, and you're all set.
I'm all set. I'm good to go.
Right on.
All right.
Take that. Yeah, take that. So we're going to talk to Torch 180 next week. We've got some other guests we're lining up in the pipe for September, and we're starting to line up for October. So we'll get some more guests coming on soon. And yeah, with that, again, Joe, thanks for joining us tonight. And
thank you.
Yeah, this is let me get my cues up here before I do our outro. Okay. So this is Brown Leader signing off for the crew, and you have been listening and watching Hyperspace Heroes. That's no
moon. Oh yes, the joyous